everybody. I'm Carolyn Topol, and welcome to Carolyn Talks Television. And we are so thrilled to be back. I am here, as always, with my wonderful co-host, Rachel Arnett.
Hello, hello.
We have missed you the past 2 years, the past long 2 years.
I literally forgot how to talk. So this is like my first time talking again.
Yeah, we don't believe that. No. We don't believe that. There's a reason she's a good co-host. Now, we wanted to start with a bang. Since we've been away for a while and we know lots of exciting things are happening now, you know, remember, we tape in advance.
Yes.
We could have talked about the Olympics, but by the time you see this,
Done.
they're history.
Yeah.
And you'll know who won, and right now we don't.
No. Should get my phone. I'm missing some, I think skeleton is today.
Okay, well, if that makes you excited, go for it.
I'm going to DVR it, it's fine.
Okay. So we decided to start with an even bigger bang than the Olympics. And what's bigger than Olympics but awards?
It's
big awards.
Big awards. Like it is now award season starting, gathering, or not even starting. It's kind of gaining steam, but
yeah, I think
the steam is a little fizzly this year.
The steam sort of started with a whimper.
It's a cool steam.
Because it usually starts with the big bang of the Golden Globes, and that's where we'll start. Now, we're not talking about the awards because we talk about movies. We're talking about it from how a TV viewer sees the award shows.
Yep.
Because that's our bag. We like the TV shows.
That's what we do.
We do TV.
It's in the title.
So, to start off with the Golden Globes, that actually happened the beginning of January, although you may not have seen it because nobody saw it.
I was just suddenly surprised to find out that people won awards. I didn't know what happened. It was very strange. I was a little bit behind on the news. It's quite a scandal.
The Golden Globes have for years been criticized for being less than diverse, and I am being really kind with that.
Very kind, yes. And the Hollywood Foreign Press Association in general has, for at least the last 5 years that I'm aware of, there's been constant, regular criticism of that.
Yes. So, to make their statement clear, the actors who typically would attend and be nominated, or be those presenting awards or possibly even hosting, all turned down their invitations.
Which is amazing because if it's one thing I've learned about celebrities, they do enjoy a good award show and a good, healthy celebration of themselves and their art and their work, and that's fine. I also really enjoy celebrations.
I like a pat on the back with the best person.
Absolutely. You're doing a great job so far.
And so are you. Love the stars.
Thank you.
So this group truly demonstrated if you really know how to boycott.
Yeah.
And they weren't angry. They had already done the jokes the past 5 years. They'd actually done statements within the past 2 years that were serious on that program itself. And yet, there's still not diversity. So to answer that, they said no thank you. And they was 100 or virtually 100% boycott of the Golden Globes. Therefore, there was nothing to air.
There was quite literally nothing to air. It would have just been a podium. Can you imagine, like, just the awards sitting on the podium? It flashes on the screen. No one's there to read it.
And there is performance value. That would have been like, you know, the old beat where they would say,
do, 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 do.
And nothing was happening.
Nothing.
So instead, they chose to literally present the awards in a small, intimate
gathering. So I'm picturing the 80 members of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association just around like a giant round table, maybe square, because they don't seem very concerned with equity or equality, so maybe not a round table, like a square table, and they're all, you know, drinking champagne and toasting themselves for, I don't know, something. And then every once in a while being like, oh yeah, this person won an award.
Well, my guess is by next year we're going to see a change, because I think it was an embarrassment.
And it was a long time coming, unfortunately. I think, like you were saying, People started with kind of jokes because that's the first way sometimes to breach an uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah.
And then people made statements. And then people, you were talking about earlier before the show about Sterling K. Brown,
right,
making a direct statement while presenting an award. Something's not right here. And it took a boycott, and hopefully.
Now, we also recently had, though, on the other side, the People's Choice Awards. Now, I have to say, I love that show. I don't particularly think it's got a lot of great quality entertainment value overall.
No. I would agree. I think it's much more freeform. People will show up to that in jeans and a t-shirt. I do think there's something a little bit more genuine about it because the audience is voting. So there is this sense of like, oh, my audience is appreciating me.
Well, you know, when I watch the People's Choice Awards, what I like is that there's a little bit of entertainment, and there's always a host who makes great jokes. I mean, they're
Absolutely
wonderful, wonderful. And the best thing about that show is I know a lot of the shows getting the awards and a lot of the actors.
Yes.
It's not the
100%.
person who did something really odd on some extraneous streaming network that I can't even get on my cable. You know.
Exactly. It shows that not only, I mean, most of the time they are critically favored as well, but very often you'll see someone being awarded that we all, as the audience, feel have been overlooked. So you'll see people, I think they, for me, have always had a very diverse base of people being awarded. And it's going to sound weird, but it's almost like a step above like the old MTV TV and Movie Awards when they did it.
Right.
It's not quite
That makes
MTV,
sense.
like it's a little bit elevated than that
makes
show
sense.
was, but there's a feel of more authenticity to me, and it reflects people a little more.
And I feel like I'm connected.
Yes.
Because they're going to say the name of a show, and historically that's what's happened with that show. They'll say the name of a show, and I can say, I watched that show, and do I agree or disagree? That's not the issue. I know it, at least. It's not something that just started, is very esoteric, out there, whatever it might be, that 4 people watched.
And they were all critics of the
right.
and nobody else.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that I've seen people be very passionate about People's Choice, even though, again, you know, it's not on the same, it doesn't have the same ring to it as I've won an Oscar, I've won an Emmy, I've won a Golden Globe. It's not part of the EGOT with the Tony.
That's right.
There's a PGOT. Ooh, People's Choice.
Ooh.
A PGOT. Lin-Manuel Miranda's gonna have a PGOT.
We started here. I think he already does.
He's probably got 17.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's something where people get really passionate about. I think more people sometimes vote for that than the presidential election, which we should talk about as a society, but still. I think people do vote for the People's Choice Award because they can.
Because they can, and because they see themselves reflected in the show.
Yeah.
And as a TV viewer, I like to see a show where I can make a connection in an award show.
Yeah. And there's also, it feels a little bit more lighthearted.
Yes.
Even when people do talk about serious issues, and there are actors being awarded for serious roles.
Right.
It's just not the same tone of seriousness that some of the other award shows have, where it feels very elite and untouchable, and they're all in their incredible $10,000 gowns or $20,000.
I think you're underselling them.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a $10,000 purse,
That's
$20,000 gown.
As you can tell, I have never been to any of the fancy award shows.
Neither have I.
No.
Now, there's some shows where they used to feel really entertaining, and less so lately, which I sort of am almost confused by in many respects. One of them, of all these, is the Oscars, the Academy Awards. I used to feel so entertained, like I could not miss the Oscars. Oh, what day is it? I knew it was the end of March.
Oh, I would set my DVR. People had Oscar parties.
And even before DVRs, I'm talking about, I mean, I used to do it.
I don't remember what that.
I know you don't remember those. I do. I remember the birth of VHS, so just give me that. Give me my moment. But I would actually put my VHS in and make sure the timer was set to go
record
off
it, right?
to record the Oscars, because you needed to watch the Oscars every year.
It felt like there were big moments. Like even when I go on YouTube and I enjoy, sometimes you need just like an uplifting thing. So I'll go back and watch like former winners accepting their awards. That's
And
a
it was
niche,
so
but there's something.
emotional.
And it was emotional, and it felt, I don't know, it felt joyful. And it felt like a celebration.
Now, I know they still, which is one of the things I enjoy most about watching it as a TV viewer, because truth be known, I haven't been in a movie theater in 2 years. And considering everything ends up on Netflix and HBO Max and wherever it is in about a minute and a half after it's released, I'm kind of happy being in my nice, safe living room with my big TV.
Just in the Snuggie, just ready.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Put the fleece around you and we're
Absolutely.
good to go.
Yep.
We're good to go. But I'm enjoying watching really great movies. And I think maybe if I didn't have a nice TV set, it might not work as well. But it's working for me. Yeah. So I haven't been in a movie theater, but I have seen several of the movies. So I'm watching, I'm entertained, I know what I'm watching, and I still like the music.
Yes. Oh, the musical performances, I absolutely look forward to those. I can still remember crying during the performance when they did Dreamgirls, and Beyonce and Jennifer Hudson just tore the roof off the building. And I was just sitting there in tears, like, I can't believe this is real. It felt like being at a concert.
Even more recently, when they did Shallow, from the most recent version of A Star is Born. And A Star is Born has been remade enough times that I'm not sure if I have enough fingers on my hand for the amount of movies. Yeah. But once again, that was just so beautiful to watch. And there's been Elton John. And you get to see really fine performances. And
I still remember the performance from Moana a few years ago when she sang How Far I'll Go, and it, she got hit in the head with a flag, but she stood her ground.
Yeah.
And it was this like moment of like, yes, girl. Like you are a literal child singing on the Oscars, and she did such a phenomenal job.
Because one of the things that happened in the 70s, I believe it was, in the early 70s, is the Oscars made a new rule at that time that the people who, I think it was something about the people who sang the song for the film
had to be the ones
who sang it, not the ones who wrote the song.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense to an extent.
And as a TV viewer, while I get that some of those artists felt slighted,
that's how people know the song.
That's how people know the song. And as a viewer, the artist who sings it is the one I want to see sing it.
Although I will say, of the last few years of Oscars that I remember, my absolute favorite, which is kind of along the same lines of what you're talking about, is when they sang Into the Unknown from Frozen 2, and they had Elsas from all over the world that did the different translations sing alongside Idina Menzel.
Yes.
And that, tears.
Yes.
Tears.
I'm sobbing, and it's animated.
It's an animated movie.
It's an animated movie, but it was a beautiful film, and it was a beautiful voice, and it was
just this really nice moment on TV of them basically saying like, we're all Elsa. It was like a we are all Elsa moment with all of these different languages involved and just the harmonies that they were able to pull together with the 20 Elsas on stage.
However, unfortunately, in between that, the Oscars have clearly had challenges with hosts and hosting. I think it's the past 3 years there hasn't even been one, and nobody noticed. And if they noticed, they were like, oh, good, there's nobody interrupting between things.
Yeah.
There's that nice little announcer in the background who tells you when it's a commercial break and that they'll be back and who's coming next.
Yeah.
And that was all we needed.
It was a DJ the year that the first year they didn't have a host. It was actually a celebrity DJ who was doing it.
Who did the voiceover, yes.
Who did the voiceover.
Yes. And now they're said that they're going to go back this year, March 27th. There will be a host. The host has not been announced as of today, otherwise I'd share it with you.
Yeah, there are a lot of rumors. Tom Holland, Pete Davidson, neither of which I think are very likely, especially Tom Holland. Like, it's not his lane. I don't quite get it. He'd be fantastic. He could do 100 musical performances.
That's true.
He's a phenomenal dancer. I don't see it. People have suggested Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. People have suggested...
Every time you put Tina Fey and Amy Poehler in a room, it's going to be there. I'll be there.
It's going to be good.
I mean, they could do the rendition of the phone book and I'd be in.
Honestly, it would be hilarious.
Yeah.
And timely.
Really. Considering we don't do phone books anymore, it'll be really
find
interesting.
A way, yeah.
Now, we've done some of those big shows, but now one of the ones, I think you and I probably have two different views on this.
Yeah.
But I think the two top entertainment value for a TV viewer, Carolyn TV viewer, are the Grammys and the Tonys.
So I'm totally with you on the Grammys. I will 100% say that. I think in general, the Grammys, when I think of people that are my age or younger, strangely, we're not terribly interested in watching movie celebrities especially. And with all of the scandals and a lot of what we've learned about these people, there's like a little bit of a distrust almost, or like an icky feeling about celebrating. But music, oh yeah, all day, every day. I could watch, and especially there's so many performances. I think that's what it is.
One of the things is they make wonderful performances. And I do watch the Grammys. Mm-hmm. But some of the music of the Grammys, yes, I'm dating myself, folks. Remember I said I had a VHS? So for me, watching the Grammys, there's a lot of songs that they will do by artists who I know everybody is really excited to see. And I'm like, who is that person? I mean, I kind of know.
I mean, don't get me wrong. They're the best new artist category. I almost never know any of them, except Lil Nas X. I will always know Lil Nas X and Billie Eilish. That's it.
Okay, I know those two.
Yeah, that's
Just saying. I do know those two. I'm not.
That year, they were like all I knew. Because there's so many other genres of music now that are also included in that. There are dubstep artists. My dad asks me regularly if a certain type of song is dubstep. I'm like, no, that is ska, Dad. Oh.
Okay. We know she's speaking in English.
Just not your English.
She'll just tell me later what she just said.
Absolutely.
We'll work on that. So if you don't get it, it's okay. You're not wrong. But for me, it's the Tonys. I love theater. Look, going to New York City and going to the theater is a little bit rough. And I don't mean because of COVID. I mean because of the cash. Yeah.
You can't afford $300 far balcony seats?
Yeah.
No?
And not if I want to go with my husband at the same time.
Yeah, that's true. No.
And park my car.
No,
and eat a meal.
So you can't really do all of those things at once. You have to pick like 2 out of 4.
I mean,
so leave the husband, don't eat the food.
I mean, basically, going to the Broadway theater with one other person can actually run a day $800 to $1,000 if you want to have good seats. Because I'm also one of those people that, while I think it must be my TV thing, because I don't like being separated, so I always feel like I need to sit in the orchestra.
The music is always incredible, but sometimes there's just that extra layer when you're closer, being able to really see the expression and the nuance of performances and little gestures.
True. And so for all of you here, what I do to get my Broadway fix is I go to the Bushnell a lot. Yep. I go every year. I go several times a year.
Yep. And catch the tour performances.
And I get there the tour, the road shows.
Yep. One thing I'll say, the Tonys, I think, have done incredibly well with is picking their hosts.
Right.
And building performances around that host. I mean, they are literal stage performers, all of them. You know,
exactly.
I'm thinking of some of the hosts, regardless of whether people personally enjoy them or not. You can't deny that James Corden can sing, can dance, can act.
Hugh Jackman. Neil Patrick Harris.
The guy from How I Met Your Mother.
And there we go, TV. We are TV.
Doogie Howser. So he's got the TV back, and he has not only hosted the Tonys, he's done other hosting shows as well.
He's hosted, like, I think all of them, my guess.
He's got a hosting EGOT, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know if I've seen him at the Grammys, but he should.
He can sing.
He could absolutely sing.
He can sing and dance and
everything.
And act and do it all.
And I think that they're hosts because of that, and because theater in general is kind of an underdog community anyway.
Yes.
Or at least feels that way and kind of has built an identity around that. There's just a sense of 90% of the time is pure joy. Like they are legitimately, truly happy
And
for
I
being
think
recognized.
throughout the entire show, now look, if I'm not seeing the shows when they are original that year to the Broadway stage, or having the revival that year, which is good because revivals, I know what the plays are. I've seen them probably the first times around.
Yeah.
Or I know them because they've been made into a movie, and I'll see them soon when they come to the Bushnell. But generally, you know what certain shows are about.
Absolutely.
And not only do you get performances for best songs, you get performances for the best musicals.
There's so much.
And you sometimes, if there's a lot of revivals, will get a whole category that's best musical revival, and then you get more musical performances, which is why I love watching the Tonys. You get a lot of performance.
Because at the end of the day, I think a lot of the other award shows feel more like gentle lectures with like a 5-minute music break where you put on your headphones at the back of the lecture. They're not really built around entertaining the viewer. They're so much more built around celebrating, and I get it. But if you're going to put it on TV and you want viewership to get ad money for you,
right?
You got to make it interesting for the people that you want to be watching it.
And now, of course, we'll tie up with the Emmys.
Yes.
The Emmys are celebrating television. You know, the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences celebrates themselves.
Absolutely.
And all the artists out there. And oh my God, I cannot imagine what they go through to narrow down nominations
so many
between all the
shows.
streaming services now. I can't even count.
How do they find anything besides Netflix? Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, I think was pretty much it.
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus
gets in there. Remember, they
That's
got some
true,
really
they
good
got-
shows. Hamilton, Mandalorian.
That's true.
I mean, they throw these hits in.
High School Musical, the series, season 2. I'm just saying, it's a great show. Putting it out there.
Good music. It's
It
got
is.
good music. It's got good music and good talent.
Absolutely.
And they still also have, you know, cute kids who
I
do
mean,
cute
Encanto.
things. And that's true. Encanto.
Encanto,
And then,
which is basically dominating every pop chart, which they
we're blown away by.
are blown away by. And
Except
no,
Lin-Manuel Miranda
he was not
wrote the
blown.
songs.
Yeah, makes sense.
Well, what did he say? The song about Bruno?
Yeah, we don't talk about
We don't
Bruno.
talk about Bruno?
No.
He said it became an earworm for, I think, his father-in-law. I
Yes.
heard him recently, and he said he should have known then that something was up when his father-in-law couldn't get it out of his head.
I regularly listen to that soundtrack in my daily life, just all the time.
Why not?
My kiddo singing it under his breath all the time. My sister, my parents, pretty much everyone I know, actually.
And it beat Let It Go. It beat
yep.
Frozen.
Which is unreal.
That's. I didn't think anybody could. Anybody, anything.
And it kind of goes to show organizations like the Hollywood Foreign Press Association that diversity in subject matter isn't a bad thing.
No, not
In
at all.
fact, not only is it good for humanity and people, but will actually bring in the money that for so many years they've denied exists
Right.
for diverse shows.
That's right.
And things of that nature.
And I have to say, when I watch the Emmys, I feel connected.
Yes.
I feel excited. I feel like, oh my God, I need to take notes because the things that win, if I haven't watched them, I got to go back now and watch them.
Yeah.
My favorite the past 2 years was The Queen's Gambit.
Oh, I loved it so much.
Powerful, powerful TV on these streaming services. Outstanding performances. I mean, you get Nicole Kidman doing shows in here, and you get Hugh Grant is on these. I mean,
It's really amazing what streaming TV, and I know we've talked about this before, has been able to do for the quality and the depth of programming.
and
They're not shying away from things anymore.
because we are both incredible TV enthusiasts.
It's true.
And while we know the Oscars are next in the lineup, and then, you know, Grammys, Tonys, we got to wait a little bit. But in September, we are hoping to go live with all of you and stream, Zoom, have fun,
Exactly.
do this whole web connection thing the night of the Emmys with all of you. So just, you know,
Have our own little Emmy party.
when we get the date for the Emmys 2022, just make sure you get your best dresses out and your best tuxes because
Absolutely.
we're going to get together and have a real good time here with the partying and the fun. So we have now, we've done Globes, we've done Oscars, we've watched Emmys, we're watching them all. I do watch them all. Yeah, I do. I DVR them. Sometimes I do a lot of fast forwarding though, I gotta be honest.
Oh, 100%. Especially if someone wins that I really didn't watch. If I'm like really disappointed that MJ Rodriguez didn't win, although she won a Golden Globe this year, not that I got to see it.
But she didn't really get to see it either.
That's fair. She got it hand delivered to her.
And then, we have some other little tiny minor award shows, but that still do get viewed. Mm-hmm. Critics' Choice Awards, you can see.
Yep.
The Screen Actors Guild called the SAG Awards. And the Critics' Choice recognized a lot of things that they're saying we might see later in the Oscars and the Emmys now, because clearly nobody paid attention to the Golden Globes, which used to be the thermometer.
I was going to say, it used to be kind of the predictor.
Right.
And even as I was, before the show today, kind of looking at some of the people who won, because it was never announced, really, I was really surprised. I had to really look. And there were some where I was like, no, they're not going to be the one to win the Emmy, because it just wasn't, for me, the right choice. And I think that there were some shows that got different critical opinion than the majority opinion.
Yes.
Which, to be fair,
and that's
every
where
year.
we have the Critics' Choice and Screen Actors Guild. Between the critics and the screen actors, and it's not movie screen, it's screen actors, so it's
For
small
me,
screen and big screen actors.
For me, that if I was ever to win an award for TV, we're on TV.
I'd give you an
We're on
award.
TV. We should go to SAG. Can we?
Yeah.
Oh no, I guess we're technically not actors if we're being ourselves. But anyway, that would be the award show that because that's the one that every one of your peers is voting on. That again.
Yes.
That to me is more interesting than someone I've never met who doesn't connect with me.
Well, on that note, enjoy the shows coming up. We are taping this February 7th. Tomorrow, the Oscar nominees will be announced.
Yes.
And the people announcing it are
Tracy Ellis Ross. You will probably know her from Blackish, but she was also on Girlfriends back in the day.
And Leslie Jordan, who is best known for Will and Grace.
But is making a huge resurgence on TikTok.
Yes.
I will say. I was very surprised.
They'll be announcing tomorrow, and next time we see you, we will do a quick follow-up before our next show. And for Rachel and myself, it's great to be back.